Earthquakes, seismic waves created by sudden releases of energy in the Earth's crust, are felt as shaking ground, but are rarely experienced at locations in the middle of tectonic plates or locations vastly distant from fault lines. Okay, so nothing jumps out at me immediately about this. Clearly, we have an opposition between how earthquakes feel when you're actually at an earthquake versus these places that are far away from tectonic plate or middle of plates and far from fault lines. Okay, so that's a possibility. So we do want these to be somehow opposed, where there's a differentiation. So choice B does not have a word like but to say that these a contrasting word, so we can get rid of that one. C has although, D has although, E does not have the contrasting word. Now we have to choose between A, C, and D. We have earthquakes are felt as shaking of the ground. They feel like shaking of the ground. Or the ground feel like shaking. Well, the ground feel like shaking, we can get rid of that one. Now we have a choice between A and C. So we have a difference between earthquakes feel like shaking of the ground although never felt at locations, which is a different idea from rarely experienced. Going from rarely experienced to never is a shift in the meaning of the sentence. And it's not that you'll never change the meaning of the sentence, but usually you will only be changing it if the original meaning, because of the grammar or the syntax, didn't make sense. So in general, you should keep as close as possible to the meaning of the original sentence unless it introduces new errors. So in addition to feel like shaking of the ground, as opposed to felt as shaking of the ground, feel like shaking of the ground means it feels like it, but it's not actually feeling like that. But in reality, earthquakes literally are a shaking of the ground, so it should be felt as. Like means similar to, not is the same as. So for two reasons, the addition of never and then the like in C, we get rid of C, the sentence was actually correct as written.